You are listening to Intangible, the podcast of intangible law, plain talk about intellectual property. Please welcome your host, Leticia Caminero.
Hello from Washington, D.C. This is episode 5. Today we're going to talk about novelty in a patent with an exciting young inventor. Before we talk with our guest, an inventor, entrepreneur, edutuber, managing director of Stairsteady, co-founder of the Girls with Drills movement, and the recipient of the 2006 Young Engineer for Britain, first, let's talk about novelty as a patent requirement, building on what we have already learned in episode 1. In episode 1, we talk about how a patent will be granted to a new invention with an inventive step and industrial application. We also said that an invention is new when it's not in the state of the art, which covers all the information available to the public. It sounds overwhelming, doesn't it? All the information available to the public. This information includes everything you have published or communicated to the public yourself, as well as all previous patents applications. What if someone without your consent made your invention public before you could apply for your patent? Well, in many countries, the law protects against those unauthorized publications. And to protect yourself further, you should seriously consider signing confidentiality agreements with those involved in developing your invention. It doesn't matter how much you trust them. Also, there is often a grace period of 12 months from the first publication within which you can apply for a patent without affecting the novelty. Since the moment you start with the materialization of the idea that will lead to your invention, it is best to keep it confidential, and when you have developed it, apply for a patent as soon as possible. Because in many countries, if 2 or more people create an invention that is the same or quite similar, the exclusivity of the patent will usually be granted to the first person who made the application. Here the importance of being the first to apply for a patent. Now you know, novelty is one of the prerequisites to achieve patenting of our invention. We have to be very careful when we are developing it, to not compromise the novelty and put at risk the obtaining of our patent. Let's discover more about inventions and patents with our guest.
Intangible, the podcast of intangible law, plain talk about intellectual property.
Today, we have the great pleasure of talking with a young inventor. She will share with us how an idea changed her future and made her a successful entrepreneur.
Hello, my name's Ruth Amos. I'm from the UK. I'm 30 and an inventor, and I started a business called Stairsteady Limited.
Hello, Ruth. Thank you for joining us. So tell us about your invention.
So the Stairsteady is a mobility product that was designed as part of my GCSE resistant materials project. And it was one of those moments that when I look back was completely life-changing. Up to that point, I wanted to be a lawyer, study law at university. I'd even chosen the university I wanted to attend. And then as part of my resistant materials, I designed the Stairsteady product, was entered into a competition, won an engineering award, and was thrown into this whole world of engineering. And I loved it. And I decided to work on bringing the Stairsteady to market, started a company. And yeah, my life just took a very different but exciting path because of that.
Yeah, that's the beauty of life. Sometimes we have planned a concrete path for ourselves and something happens that takes us off course. And then we realize, wait, it is not off course. It's just repositioning us where we are supposed to be. When you started working on your invention, did you foresee its success?
I'm not sure that if there was a particular moment where I felt that it was going to be a success. I think as I started to develop and work on the product, there were moments where I really got a sense of like, oh, this is something that's useful, because it was designed to help my teacher's father go up and down his stairs. And so at that point, I wasn't really sure if this was a problem that lots of people had. So the first time that we fitted the product into someone's house and saw them using it was one of those moments where I was like, yeah, this is going to work. People need that. And they've always been really key moments, seeing people who need the product, having it installed, and it making their life better.
I imagine that witnessing the difference that it makes in people's life is one of your invention's greatest satisfaction. Touching on today's topic, how was your experience with the patent process?
I personally feel that intellectual property is really vital. Some products don't necessarily need to be patented, and some products can't be, but I think it is really useful. But particularly I found licensing the product and distributing it, having it protected has been really vital. There have been times along the way where I've been getting patents where it might have seemed to be a little bit of a pain. It's not the cheapest thing to do, particularly when you start branching out into other countries. But I was just trying to be very thoughtful about what countries we wanted to work in, where we got the most interest, and kind of started from there. And the great thing about submitting a patent is that if you submit it the right way, then you don't have to make some of those decisions till further down the line, sometimes years later. So you have a little bit of time to get the product out there. The main thing is, and the main mistake I see people making, is they don't even start a patent, but then they put the product out into the public domain and then they realise they want to patent it and they can't. So I'd always say to someone before they start selling a product or telling people about a product, just see if it's something that's patentable. Most patent lawyers will give you an hour for free. It's worth taking that and just having those conversations. But yes, it is not cheap.
A proper intellectual property strategy is crucial for successfully protecting your invention. It starts from the moment you get the idea, it continues when you are developing the invention, when you begin the formal patent process, when you are producing and offering your product in the market. It may feel like an endless effort, but an IP strategy is likely to determine the fate and the success of your invention. Ruth, tell us about the beautiful project that you have as an edutuber.
So Kids Invent Stuff is a YouTube channel that I started with my friend Sean a few years ago. So Sean and I are both inventors, and we're really keen around young people getting creative with science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths. And so we set up a YouTube channel where we would set an invention challenge. So it might be inventions to cross water or superhero inventions, and 5 to 11-year-olds would submit their invention ideas as pictures or videos, and we would choose one to bring to life. And we've worked with lots of different companies and educational organisations on that. And one of them was the Intellectual Property Office, which was really exciting. So as part of their challenge, they they talked about what patenting was, and they looked at how you would submit a patent, and the inventors were asked to name their idea, just kind of giving them a kind of a nice introduction into the world of intellectual property. But yeah, Kids Invent Stuff, we want to really get young people thinking and engaging with inventing and engineering, and showing them that they too can solve all these problems that humanity we have to solve. And so, yeah, we think kids come up with the best ideas, and we wanted to celebrate that.
For sure, kids have an unlimited imagination, and well, the future is theirs. Thank you so much, Ruth, for sharing your story, invention, and projects. Surround yourself with knowledgeable people and research how to protect your invention in your country and abroad. Ask your local patent office. They usually have programs to support inventors and even aid programs that waive patenting fees. Trust your instinct and protect the fruit of your hard work. Your work, inventiveness, and skill can be the expected solution to many of the problems we face every day. Be encouraged to pursue your passion and remember to protect your inventions. And so we come to the end of our episode. See you next Tuesday with a new guest and a new IP topic.
Thank you for listening to Intangiblia, the podcast of intangible law, plain talk about intellectual property. Did you like what we talked today? Please share with your network. Do you want to learn more about intellectual property? Subscribe now on your favorite podcast player. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Visit our website www.intangiblia.com. Copyright Leticia Caminero 2020. All rights reserved. This podcast is provided for information purposes only and should not be considered as legal advice or legal opinion.